Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really fascinating and honestly deeply relatable concept from our source material. We're looking at the paradoxical nature of modern addiction. It's this absolutely baffling space where you have an intense, burning desire for something, but the actual satisfaction you get from it, it's completely missing. It's a loop that millions of us find ourselves trapped in. But stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a really clear, practical roadmap for breaking out of it.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt a powerful, almost magnetic urge to do something? Maybe it's mindlessly scrolling your phone, pouring that extra drink, or playing just one more video game, even though you knew deep down that it wouldn't actually satisfy you, that it might even leave you feeling way worse? Well, that is the exact core problem we're tackling today. We're going to look at exactly why our brains hijacked our behavior like this, and more importantly, how we can grab the wheel right back.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this profound quote from the text. The greatest irony of desire is that what we seek to fill is the void we are creating ourselves. Think about that for a second. The treacherous nature of our habits is that they usually start off so subtly, right? Maybe just as a quick way to unwind. But over time, they morph into this unbreakable mental grip. The habit literally creates the exact emptiness it's falsely promising to cure. It's a total trap. Section 1. Jasper's invisible chains. From pleasure to compulsion. To really wrap our heads around this paradox, let's look at a case study from the text about a guy named Jasper. So Jasper started gaming as a teenager, totally innocent, just a way to relax after school. But as he got older and real-life responsibilities piled up, his gaming habit just grew into a monster. It consumed his time, it wrecked his sleep, and it started ruining his real-world relationships. He ended up trading evenings with his girlfriend for just endless, numb hours behind a screen. And Jasper's story perfectly highlights this addiction paradox. Look at the comparison here. On one hand, his desire was off the charts. His mind absolutely screamed for a dopamine kick the second he walked through the front door. But the actual satisfaction? The gaming provided zero pleasure, literally none. He was just compulsively checking off digital tasks, feeling completely empty, exhausted, and guilty the whole time. High desire, zero satisfaction. Section 2. Pebbles in the stomach. Validating the inexplicable pain. So you're probably thinking, why not just stop? Well, as Jasper found out, when you try to hit the brakes on an ingrained habit, you slam into a brick wall of intense mental anguish. And we really need to validate this phase. The source material uses this crazy, visceral metaphor for the feeling. Pebbles in the stomach lining. It's that intense, scratching, agonizing unrest you feel when you finally deny your brain its usual fix. It doesn't hurt physically, right? But mentally, oh man, it fights back with absolutely everything it has. If you've ever felt this kind of inexplicable pain, I want to reassure you right now. Feeling this is absolutely not a sign of personal weakness. Not at all. It is just a pure, unadulterated battle with your own conditioned mind. So let's look at the actual science behind those pebbles. What you're experiencing is a phenomenon called aversive motivation. See, over time, your brain builds up a dopamine tolerance. That means you need more and more of whatever the stimulus is just to feel baseline normal. When you suddenly cut off that expected rush, your brain protests aversively. It triggers this massive physiological state of anxiety and discomfort. Basically, your brain is throwing a giant temper tantrum because it didn't get its expected reward. And honestly, it's wild how fast this physiological rewiring can happen.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 3. Rewiring your brain. The science of neuroplasticity. We're shifting to the solution now, and this is where it gets incredibly empowering. We are absolutely not permanent prisoners to these impulses.
The science of neuroplasticity proves that our brains are, well, plastic. They can physically change their structure and function based entirely on our conscious choices. Look at this breakdown. When we're running on autopilot, we're stuck in the old neural pathway. That's driven by the amygdala, the primitive fear and impulse center of our brain. The response is just an automatic, super urgent reaction, chasing a fleeting dopamine kick. But we can consciously shift the control center. By engaging the prefrontal cortex, the logical part of the brain right behind your forehead, we activate conscious decision-making. We move from a panicked reaction to a calm choice. And the reward? Sustainable, authentic fulfillment.
Section 4. The stop-go process. Taking control back. So, how do we practically make that shift? How do we turn the steering wheel over to the prefrontal cortex? The text outlines this super effective toolkit.
This process right here is exactly how you take your power back and forge those brand new neural pathways. It's 3 steps. Step 1, conscious inhibition. When the urge hits, you literally just stop.
You take a deep breath and you force a mental pause. Step 2, cognitive reappraisal. This is where you reframe the urge. Instead of panicking and thinking, I have to do this right now, you tell yourself, okay, this is just a conditioned protest from my brain. I don't actually need this. You change the narrative. And finally, step 3, seek alternative rewards. Give your brain some healthy dopamine. Go for a walk, call a good friend, hit the gym. Every single time you run this 3-step process, you are weakening that old toxic habit loop and strengthening a new healthy one.
And this brilliantly illustrates Section 5, Anchored in Biblical Truth, the spiritual roadmap to freedom. Because what is truly fascinating about the source material here is how it takes this hard neuroscience and connects it directly to spiritual truths. It shows us how scientific empowerment perfectly aligns with ancient divine calling. Just look at this scripture from Romans 6:12. Therefore do not let sin reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in its lusts. This ancient verse perfectly mirrors the exact scientific concept we just broke down. It is a direct call to consciously refuse those old automatic patterns. It's all about making the active, conscious choice not to obey that conditioned old voice when it demands an immediate, unhealthy reward.
And then we have 2 Corinthians 10:5, which urges us to be bringing every thought into captivity. I mean, talk about a profound statement on thought control. It's a powerful reminder that our conditioned urges, no matter how loud those pebbles in the stomach are screaming, they are not invincible. They do not get to dictate your actions. They can literally be taken captive, paused, and subjected to a higher truth.
So here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. You are the architect of your own mind. Whether you're looking at it through the lens of modern neuroplasticity or timeless spiritual truth, the power to break the chains of a hollow desire is sitting right there in your hands. You can endure the discomfort. You can use the stop-go process. You can rewire your own brain for genuine lasting satisfaction. So I want to leave you with a challenge. What specific thought, what conditioned urge will you take captive today? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.